Hey, it's Joseph here. I've got a product here which is from Andycine or Andycine 4K 5.5 inch touchscreen on-camera monitor with power kit, and the specific model is A6 Pro. And I actually have a very good use case scenario for this product, therefore I have requested, and Andycine or Andycine have provided a product sample for me to test out and showcase to you and also unbox on camera. So I'll go ahead and do that and perhaps explain why I choose this specific product over others that are available and how I plan on using it. And on the box itself, it's not really apparent what kind of feature it has other than the fact that it notates HDMI. And also because this is A6 Pro model rather than regular A6 or A7, I believe they have another model that's slightly different size. So I am not really expecting this monitor to be all that big. I'm actually expecting it to be sort of a phone size. So here is the box and a couple of paperwork along with quality certificates, and there is a seemingly carrying case which I can't get out like that. So here's a nice neat little carrying case. I'm surprised to actually see this. And then if you unzip it, here's two compartments. Unzip one more, and I suppose there are gonna be some cables. So this one is full-size HDMI to micro HDMI, and then there's some sort of bracket along with regular USB-A port to USB-C. And then here is so this is a typical Sony battery, the NP series battery, so that's included here. You're going to be able to use that to power up your monitor if you want to use it portable. And then this is a charging device with it, so it all comes together, and then you can just connect to micro USB and charge the battery with. So let me actually go ahead and charge it so that I have some charge to showcase to you. You can see the light that is coming on to tell you that it is charging. And then get through rest of the content. Here's a little bracket that was included. This is a cold shoe mount that you can just screw that into. And then another cold shoe mount along with 1/4-20 thread. So you can mount something else there and then you can just lock it into the place. We'll test that out. Here are some more cables, regular USB-A type and then micro USB. I suppose I could have used that to charge the battery, and nothing more over here. And then on this side, and then is the main portion that I'm after. Here is the sun hood if you plan on using this device outdoor. I actually don't plan on using this outdoor, so it doesn't really have a good use for me, but there is sort of a Velcro. And here is the monitor. I'm gonna undo this bracket. There you go. You can just unsnap this, the bracket comes off, and then let's do the peel. So it is really not that big. Obviously it is only 5.5 inches. I wasn't expecting it to be all that large, but let's look at the overall body of this. Screen has a little bit of bezel, I would say about 1/2 inch all around. And then on the bottom there's going to be USB Type-C, DC in 5V, and then there's a headphone jack, and then 1/4-20 thread for you to mount your monitor, as well as DC out 8.4V, so you can actually power your camera with this. And then here is HDMI in and then HDMI out, so you can put the signal and then out as well, and then DC in 12V, so you can have 12V going in powering this device. There's a weird battery looking thing. I'm yet to figure this one out because the description over here is not really all that clear. And then here is the bit that you can attach the battery to. So I'm gonna connect that battery on here eventually and test it out. But you can also see another 1/4-20 mounting point here. And then on top, another 1/4-20. Actually on the side, there's another 1/4-20. So total of 1, 2, 3, 4 1/4-20 mounting points, along with a couple of buttons for you to navigate the system with. Here's a power button, up, down menu, right, left, F1, F2. I suppose that's sort of a function key. And it did say it's a touch screen, so I'm gonna have to test that out as well. And here is a bracket that was included. And I suppose you can just mount this over here on its side. There's a little nubbins here for you to line it up. Oh, that seems all metal build, so quite robust there. And then I suppose you can mount it onto a camera so that you can monitor what is going on. So take this battery out, the most obvious way to turn this thing on, and then just slide that battery in. Once you do that, I do see a little LED light that came on, and I guess the screen just came on. That's pretty bright. It says HDMI, and I suppose it's not receiving any signal, so it doesn't know what to show. Touch on it, and then the menu popped up, and I can change the volume too. Navigate through some of the menu that it has. Histogram off, focus assist, I don't need any of that. Okay, let's test it with the HDMI port. And again, it has a full-size HDMI, which is a very good thing because often the small-size monitors don't have full-size HDMI port, and it's a pain to get the right connection, and the smaller HDMI tends to have very weak connection. It always unplugs, so that's a very good thing. So let me connect that. So here is actually the HDMI port coming from my computer. I actually wanted to use this monitor connected to the computer, so this is the first thing that I'm actually trying out. All right, I hear that it is connected, and right away you can see the screen. So my computer screen is showing up. Let's see if that is going to show you. So that is actually my feed, and that is actually coming from my computer, and this is the exact way I intended this monitor to be used, connected to the computer and seeing myself on the tiny little monitor, so I can monitor myself and perhaps show different sort of information, such as some sort of outline, certainly show some text. Obviously this is very, very tiny, so I'm gonna have to work on the resolution bit. I could actually make out the text if I look very close, but I don't think I want to do that for this specific purpose. And if I were to increase the text size, I can certainly read these things as I write couple of outlines and the script. So I just need to mount this under my camera so I can just kind of constantly look at the screen as I talk to the camera. And that was the very purpose of this monitor. So currently I have this setup where I have a camera that I'm looking at. I can kind of see myself, but because this monitor is kind of too big for me to just occasionally glance at it, and you can kind of tell when I go, you can see my eyes are just sort of looking at something else, and the small screen up here, then it may not be as obvious. Unfortunately, I am not a natural born speaker, so I need to go off of either some sort of outline or script. The scripting didn't really help for me because I really needed to like look at something and then memorize something and then say many times before I get it right. It meant that recording time is going to be very long, as well as taking forever to edit out those wrong takes that I have done during the shoot. So I wanted to make sure I just kind of have much better run of a record time, and the best method that I just kind of figured out myself was that I have some sort of outline written down, so I can occasionally glance at it and then come back to the lens and talk about it, and then occasionally glance at it. But if it's really far, like that one over there or over here down in the corner, then it meant that my eyes are really far away, and once I adjust back to the lens, that my head or my body is going to be kind of misaligned from the previous thing that I have said. So if it was a little bit down and then up, it's not going to be as much of a difference, and it is not going to be as much jarring for me to do little glance at the below of the lens, and it's not going to be as distracting for you nor me for me to do the whole recording and whatever the product or tutorial that I decide to do. And I do know there is something called Teleprompter, and its very purpose is to do this, but the problem is I'm using quite a wide lens, and whenever there is something very close to it, even if it's very far, I'm just about to touch the lens, and if there's something just in front of the lens, it kind of captures it, and I can see the vignetting on the corners. The teleprompters are actually quite expensive. It ranges from a couple of $100s to thousands of dollars. The thousands of dollars ones actually have built-in screen, and I don't really need that. My camera is a couple $100s. I don't want to spend hundreds of dollars on the accessories, and the couple $100 range ones actually require your phone or tablet to be placed underneath it and run sort of a weird app on it so that it flips the image. It becomes all complex and bulky in terms of the setup. It's going to be a huge hood that sits in front of the lens. So I'm going to replace the current monitor setup that I have here, which is about 12-inch or 11-inch monitor that I have purchased before. It was about $100, and then 1080p. It worked out pretty well, but it is kind of too large for my specific purpose. So I'm gonna mount this monitor underneath the lens and see how that goes. Now it is having the lens up here and the monitor down here. It is a quite small text, and I guess that depends on what sort of UI you end up showing. I suppose if you were to show different document like this, and then I can zoom in really far so I can actually format the text so I can read it. Or I can show the regular OBS screen so I can just kind of see what is going on. And later I'm gonna have to spend some time to make all of these cables a bit more tidier than what it is over here, but obviously I wanted to do a bit of mock-up right now and see how I can configure it. So it should all be fine. Also, I wanted to mention the fact that I can do the touch screen to go through a couple of different menus if I wanted to. Oh, and I also wanted to mention the fact that this Andycine A6 Pro does support up to 4K signal, but the native resolution is 1080p. And if I look at the image, everything is quite sharp, visible, even if it is a tiny little text because of its resolution. And I have one more thing I do want to mention. So here is another product. It says FeizLink ultra high speed 48 gigabytes per second bandwidth, 8K HDMI 2.1. Yeah, it is a lot of numbers that are stated for a cable, but it is quite special, I must say. So it is not just regular HDMI cable. This is something rather special. As you can see, there is quite a bit of roll here, and this one is 30 feet, and in addition this cable is actually active optical fiber cable. Optical fiber meaning that this is no sort of copper set of wire. This is an optical cable, therefore there's no degradation of signal even if you go very far. Obviously I can only test going from here to maybe over there. This is a very high quality made cable. It does have a metal casing and it has a colored tip. It's actually blue and it's all metal built, so it's a quality I can expect sort of a durability out of this. But one thing for you to keep in mind is actually this is directional, and it's gonna say source versus display. So obviously source would be my computer, and then display goes right here. So connect the display over here. So because the optical cables are directional, you gotta make sure of that. But as soon as you do, so there's me, and I can monitor myself from very, very far away like this. Even if I go end of the room, I still have lots of cable left. But that is just to tell you the fact that you can expect no delay whatsoever or any signal degradation that you see on regular copper wire cables that are kind of like this. So that cable is something for you to consider if you're interested in having a setup that involves a long distance from the source, the camera or whatever it may be. I'll leave a link in the description for you guys to purchase that one as well. And as a full disclosure, I did receive a product sample from FeizLink for me to showcase to you. I thought it would be good to show this sort of mobile monitoring setup for the long distance shooting. Obviously, you can connect to your camera and do the same function. That will be more typical way of connecting the sort of smaller monitor with the arm on top of your camera. But in my case, I have connected to my computer. However, it will work just fine for maybe portable devices such as laptop, tablet, or even phones. As long as you are able to output the display signal to HDMI, then you should be able to connect it without a problem. And the fact that you can connect your power via barrel plug or the battery that it shipped with, as well as just a plain USB-C cable, it is a huge benefit. It is so versatile. You can pretty much connect however you want it to be. I'll also leave the product link in the description for you guys to purchase if you are interested in. I hope this overall setup guide, my thought process in doing my own setup, was somewhat helpful for you. And if you found it somewhat useful, then please like this video and consider subscribing to my channel if you want to continue watching these type of videos. Thank you so much for watching. As always, I'll see you next time. Bye.